whatever you wind up doing is exactly what you should be doing.
And I have not behaved one single day of my life. Not one day of my life have I behaved, and I am fine.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're gonna hurt some people.
Whose car are we gonna take?
Afternoon. Thanks for joining us on the Nikki Medoro Show. Hit that like button. I'm seeing people already doing that. The first thing you do when you join me each and every day, Monday through Friday, noon to 2, right here on YouTube, on your podcast app, wherever, however you listen. I appreciate it. But first and foremost, every single day, make it a habit to click that like button. Just once, it does it for us. It does something in the YouTube world to help promote our show. I do want to start off our show by saying thank you to our founding and exclusive sponsor, Steve Moskowitz. He is the guy to call for all of your tax questions, your tax needs. Honestly, I have been getting to know Steve even more than I did at Station X. And the guy wants to help you sincerely. He will give you the best advice. So give Steve a call at a 888 tax deal, putting it up on the screen right there. 888 tax deal or MoskowitzLLP.com. 888 tax deal, MoskowitzLLP.com. I was just having a tax conversation with him yesterday, and he puts it in a way that you can understand it. I was laughing with him because, we're starting this show. We're trying to bring in some money so I can get paid, so Kim can get paid, so we can expand the show. But I don't have a business background. I am a woman who is paid to talk. My skill set is that, following news, current events, and hitting the mic button. And I just don't know a lot about taxes. And so Steve was laying some basic things out to me yesterday, and it's so helpful. So again, if you need tax help, give Steve Moskowitz a call. Also, in addition to hitting the like button, check out our website, thenikkimedoroshow.com, thenikkimedoroshow.com. And you'll find links to our shows, our YouTube channel, so you can subscribe and share with your friends. Also to our Patreon. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm trying to, when Kim slides on over from Mark Thompson's show, I kind of leave it up to her to kind of put the people's names up there. I want to acknowledge you as much as possible, but please understand that I take this moment each and every day, and I'll do it throughout the show, to thank all of you who throw us some money to keep the show going. So our Patreon is up and running. I'm splitting that with Kim McAllister. Also, the super chat under the live chat is live. You'll see a $sign, and every day, if you can throw us some money to really help with the show, and all of it goes directly to us. There's no middleman. I need new equipment. I'd love to hire some more help. So this is a way for all of you to help out. Also loved all the birthday messages yesterday. I also want to thank my parents. So you don't know this, obviously. Yesterday, if you weren't joining us yesterday, it was my birthday. So I go over to my parents' house, and last week my mom says, well, would you like me to make you a birthday dinner? We've got a lot of stuff going on. Besides, what happened at Station X, we've had some stuff within my family going on. This month alone, it's been a really heavy month. I was like, yeah, my birthday's in the middle of the week. It's on a Wednesday. What am I going to do? It's like, I'll make you a nice dinner. I was like, okay, great. And so I go over there, after the kids get out of school, and I walk in, and there's this long table. It's set up like we do for Thanksgiving. And the first thought in my head was, why are you setting up the table so damn early for Thanksgiving? And I walk in, and my mom sings me happy birthday, and my dad gives me a hug and a kiss. And then I realized throughout the day, all of some of my friends and my brother flew in from Arizona because he knows that this has just been a really kind of trying month for my family. And so I might even get a little bit emotional talking about it. It was a great day yesterday. And all of you, sending me messages and supporting our Patreon and the super chat, even though you don't have to, from the bottom of my heart. I thank you. Okay, so we've done all that. Again, hit the like button. We have a fun show coming up. In the next hour, around 1:15, Dorothy Pineda is going to join us. She's a writer for the LA Times, and she's talking about how there are millions of Californians who can no longer afford water. The rate hikes that we've been seeing for our water rates, they're so high that people are having to make really tough decisions. So Dorothy will join us again in the next hour around 1:15, and we'll talk about that. It's lunchtime, so squeeze it on into our live chat. What is on your plate for lunch? Wet my whistle. I always have the hardest time finding out, what I'm going to eat. I do have a date, a schedule for this weekend to try some of those dim sum places that you were emailing and suggesting earlier this week. But I know what you should be drinking today. Today is National Beer Day. I'm not that much of a beer drinker anymore. It just doesn't sit well in my stomach. But for all you beer drinkers out there, raise a glass to the rich American beer making history and those who savor the continued traditions. Pour your favorite pint with millions on this American Beer Day. So, got a little history here, right? Brewing beer in America begins long before Europeans arrived, since Native Americans brewed beer from a variety of ingredients. They used corn, birch sap, and water to ferment their beverage. Today, the brewery established by David G. Youngling, I think I'm saying that right, is the oldest producing brewery in the United States. He established the Eagle Brewery in 1829, and it still remains in the family to this day. All right. Let's see. Obviously, IPAs are very popular right now. Larger breweries, though, commonly produce lager beers. The U.S. produced 196 million barrels of beer. This date was back in 2009, so I'm sure it's much more today. There's some old facts over here. I'm sure beer drinking's way more in 2022. October 27th is also National Black Cat Day, which kind of goes with the whole theme of Halloween. They say don't be superstitious on National Black Cat Day. This celebrates the beauty of these sleek creatures. It's also a day to raise awareness about the low adoption rates of black cats. Happy lunchtime, Kim McAllister.
Hi.
Hi. So it's National Black Cat Day.
What do you think about black cats?
So I try not to be superstitious, but I was just mentioning that because of the superstition surrounding black cats, they are often not adopted when they're turned into like the SPCA or something like that.
Bad.
I know. So if you are a cat lover and considering adopting, today is the day to not overlook that black cat at the shelter. They get a bad rap.
I don't feel like black cats are any different than any other cat unless it's Friday the 13th and one walks in front of me. And then I'm thinking, okay, my luck has just turned. Things are bad news. I did not see a black cat the day Station X went belly up. So, I mean, that kind of right there tells you the suspicions or the superstitions are null and void. But,
there you go.
And I feel bad. I mean, it's just being born one color. Nobody wants you. We've seen that before.
No. Well, speaking of cats, did you hear this story out of the Sacramento area? This was on Tuesday. An 18-year-old was arrested following an investigation into cat deaths in Orangevale. This is an area of Sacramento County. Obviously, I know somebody posted on Twitter. That's how I saw the story. My old boss, she'd been keeping her cats inside. She lives in this area because somebody was killing them.
Oh, no.
So apparently, this all started back in early September when police responded to Deanna Avenue in Orangevale on reports of 2 cats that had been stolen. The person who called authorities told deputies they had a video of a person entering her property twice. Now, the video showed the suspect harming one of the cats and then stealing the other cat. One of the cats never returned and the other was found dead nearby.
Oh.
Well, they did an investigation. 18-year-old Colin Lendewig has been arrested on cruelty to animals and petty theft charges, and he was booked into the Sacramento County Jail. Then he was released. Here's my question. What do we do with people like this? Now, we know the statistics, right? You know the statistics of people who abuse animals and what could happen later on in their lives.
Right.
Now, as far as punishment, California Penal Code for animal cruelty makes it a crime to intentionally maim, mutilate, torture, wound, or kill a living animal. It can result in 3 years in state prison, a fine of up to $20,000, or both a prison term and a fine. Is that harsh enough for you, Kim McAllister?
I think you need to go on a list.
Thank you. Something like that, right?
Some type of list of, if some other weird crime happens, check that list first.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. So there's this national coalition on the violence against animals. Okay. And they have all these scary statistics. So serial killers who committed animal cruelty crimes prior to their careers as serial killers: Ted Bundy, Richard Chase, Jeffrey Dahmer. School shooters share a common feature. Prior to killing their classmates and teachers, all of these boys involved in school shootings had performed acts of animal cruelty, such as shooting dogs, setting cats on fire, blowing up cows. This happened in Pearl, Mississippi, West Paducah, Kentucky, Jonesboro, Arkansas, Springfield, Oregon. Contract killer Richard Kuklinski abused animals as a youth. Animal abusers are found to mistreat children. Mass murderers also had animal cruelty in their backgrounds. I mean, these are scary statistics, but we know if you are willing to harm a living thing, it could escalate. So again, I ask you, 3 years in state prison and a fine of up to $20,000, is that a harsh enough penalty? I don't think so.
No.
I like your idea of a list. I really do.
A list of, if something else goes wrong, these are the weirdos. I want to ask you about my mom.
Oh, okay.
She's an avid gardener, spends a lot of time on her flowers, and people walk by and point at her yard. It's so pretty. Backyard, front yard, it
Nice.
looks like a showpiece, right?
Oh, nice.
When my mom finds a snail in her yard that eats her prized flowers, she will take the snails and pour some type of, I think it's salt on them, and then throw them into the street where cars run them over. Now, my mom's a nice person in all other regards. I just thought that's a little
cruel,
brutal.
isn't it?
It's
Why doesn't she
brutal.
Why does she have to do the salt part? Why can't she just throw them in the street?
She wants to make sure they're really and truly dead, not just dead, really and truly dead. And so she's taught my son to chuck the snails into the street. And I'm like, I don't really feel like I want to teach that kind of cruelty. I don't necessarily like snails, but I don't know if I really like the brutality with which they're treated, because they are living creatures.
Yes. Isn't it, you bring up an excellent point about what creatures we seem to care about more than others, right?
Yeah,
I mean, is anyone really upset when, tiny little insects, we talked about spiders yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Are we really upset? I mean, some people are. We had a viewer that was mentioning how vital spiders are to our ecosystem, which correct. Is anybody crying over the ants that people step on? Probably all of the time. And what, does size matter? As far as snails, I feel like they can be beneficial in one aspect to a gardener. No? I feel like there's a place for snails. I should ask my mother. My mom actually is a master gardener. There's a master gardener program, so I should ask her if snails do anything beneficial for the gardeners, because that's what you need.
Yes.
You need beneficials in your garden.
Chris asks if my mom is German. We are of German descent, so perhaps.
Do Germans not like snails?
I don't know. I had no
Is
idea.
this a stereotype about Germans that we've never heard of? What is an eco-friendly way of getting rid of snails, Yvonne? Does anybody know? I mean, I think moving them out of your garden. Snails and slugs have disappeared from my yard over the years. Laura asks, maybe the drought? Ooh, I don't know. I mean, when it's really wet, the snails seem to come out. My grandmother would keep us grandkids out of her hair by giving us a salt shaker and telling us to pour it on any snail we could find in the yard. Was your grandmother German, Justin? Are we finding a similarity of snail abusers being German?
So, speaking of killing animals, that we talked yesterday about my potato bug incident.
Yes.
And there is a rebuttal from the husband. And if you wouldn't mind, can I put him on with you? Is that
please.
okay?
I would love to hear from your husband.
Okay. So for the most part, yeah. But she left out one part that was the best part, which was I'm sitting in, our family room. She's out in the garage, doors closed. And she's right. She shook out some clothes, bug falls out, lands on her foot. And this part she left out that was great. She just stared at it because she thought it was a kid's toy. She thought it was like some cooties
plastic grasshopper.
Grasshopper.
Because it seems so odd looking and huge.
Right. Yeah. So she's looking down at her foot thinking, what the heck is this? And then it moves. And that's when she loses her mind. And I hear a scream. And I'm like, oh, what's wrong? So I stand up. And then I get the smash into the garage door, fumbling with the door handle. And I'm thinking, it's not locked. What is going on? So I open it up and she comes in. And now I have never in my 25 years of marriage and knowing my wife ever struck her. I did not hit her. She completely
you slapped me.
No.
That's how I remember it.
She misremembers. She's standing there. And now she also did not get out even a cohesive word. It was
I would love to see this.
It was. I'm gonna get Alzheimer's and not remember anything, and I'm gonna remember that moment. And so what I did get away with was I've never been able to get away with yelling.
Okay.
I yelled at her. I said, "Sit down." I said, "Sit down." I made her sit down on the couch.
And it was like a slap, right, Kim? It was like a slap across the face.
It was like a slap across the face. So then I was like, breathe, just breathe and tell me what's wrong. It's bug. I'm like, you're losing your mind over a bug? I go out and
it
look.
Was an ugly bug. Look at that bug.
I know.
Look at that bug.
I know. I went out there, I looked at it and thought, okay, I can see why she lost her mind. I whacked that thing with a hammer. It did nothing to it. I ended up having to pour isopropyl alcohol on it to stun it enough that I could scoop it up and take it out of the garage.
Oh no!
Yeah.
God!
Animal cruelty.
Anyway, I wanted to set the record
straight. Thank you, David.
I did not hit my wife.
That is on record.
I yelled at her with force.
Kim McAllister, how do you lie about your husband smacking you across the face?
That's the way I remember it.
She misremembered because she was having she has PTSD over it now.
Right. It was like she was slapped. It was just your yelling.
It was like I was slapped. I'm gonna get that bug off the screen. Ugh.
Oh yeah, now that's pretty scary. That is awful. I the fact that you used a hammer and it didn't do anything.
Oh my God.
Oh no, I think that bug owns my house now. Apparently, William says, I had a powerful fear of these bugs. Not anymore. Oh, all right. If you hit it with a hammer, then you missed. Yeah, maybe your husband's just not that good of a shot. Maybe he thought he hit it. And he's like, it didn't die. I have to get chemicals to stun it.
Thank you for indulging him. He had to retell the story last night in his own way that he really wanted to let you know. So
well, if my husband was telling stories about me smacking him across the face, I'd probably want to put it straight too. I do want to let you guys know this Saturday at 1:00, Mark Thompson, myself, and Chip Franklin and Kim McAllister, the invitation is extended to you as well. We are going to be doing a Twitter Spaces. So stay tuned for more details with Bryce and Asia with WPKN. And we'll be talking about what happened at Station X and what we're doing now. And so if you guys want to join in, listen in, please do, because it's another great way and a great space for us to all hang out. And while I'm thinking about it, click that like button. Smash it with the iron rod, as Mark Thompson loves to say. Thank you, Jim Slayton. Yeah, so hit that thumbs up just once. It really helps us out. You can always donate to our super chat, be a super chatter. We appreciate it. Kim McAllister, keep an eye on all of them. Throw them up on the screen. If there's a question or a comment, you'll see it right on the screen by being a super chat donator. And any amount really, really helps the show. Again, go to thenikkimedoroshow.com. And our Patreon is up there as well. And we've been loving everybody that has been, supporting the show financially, because it does take money. A big thank you to Mike Hendricks, $5 in the super chat. Thank you, Mike, so much for that. Yeah, I mean, I need to get a new microphone. I want something that's not as in your face as this one. I want to obviously share the money with Kim McAllister. So any amount will keep this show going Monday through Friday. Also, again, another reminder that in the next hour, we will be talking about water rates with Dorney Pineda with the LA Times. Because a lot of they're saying millions of Californians who live in low-income households, their taps are running dry because they can't afford to keep the water on. Speaking of money, Powerball ticket matching 5 of the numbers was sold in the Los Gatos area. South Bay is bringing in the winning tickets. Now, it matched 5 of 5 numbers that were sold in the Bay Area, worth more than $1.5 million. The Powerball jackpot actually is $800 million. So let me get this right. So two lucky Powerball players in California, including the Bay Area, matched 5 of 5. One ticket was sold in Los Gatos. The other was in San Bernardino County. The Powerball jackpot is now at $800 million, which is the second largest prize. I did go to a gas station today, Kim, and I go in there, and I see that the Powerball is at 800 million. And then I see the Mega Millions is at, I think it's at like 59 or something like that. I don't know. And I was like, give me one of each. And she gave me all 3. She also gave me the super lot. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm paying for that as well. So we'll see. Maybe I won't need as many donations or Patreons if I can hit the damn lottery. Let's see. No winner for 36 drawings straight of the Powerball. The next drawing is Saturday. So yeah, so it was 5 numbers, but not the Powerball, I think, wasn't hit.
Yep.
And so, yeah, that's crazy. I would just, I'd love to have the problem of knowing what I'd be like if I hit the lottery. You know what I'm saying?
Here's some interesting information from ABC7. The biggest of all time lottery jackpot was $1.58 billion in a Powerball prize in 2016.
Oh,
Powerball is played in 45 states. Odds of winning the Powerball, 1 in 292 million.
Wow. Could you imagine? I swear. Seeing a lot of questions about Nugget, who is literally laying on the seat with me. You'll see him stretching because he's the laziest dog out there. So yes, Nugget is here. Thank you, Karen Cooper, in the super chat, $5.40, 10 cents for every year I listen to Station X. I love it. Brett Finberg with another $5 super sticker. So yeah, there's these super stickers that you can do as well as the chat. Let's see. Chris B. Just got my Powerball ticket. 900 million. Usually do Super Lotto because the odds are better.
Yeah.
And 7 million might as well be 900 million to me. Oh, yeah. I'll take 1 million. I'll take $1 million. How about that? I will take any sort of jackpot whatsoever. Chris Ogburn. Los Gatos doesn't need any more cash. Well, I mean, maybe the gas station owner does, or the liquor store owner, or wherever they sold the tickets, because they get, what is it, 1%? Look that up for me, Kim. What does the seller of the winning ticket get? I think it's 1% of the total prize, because that's a business to be in. If you're the one that sells lotto tickets, and I don't know the process of being, approved to sell lottery tickets or what have you, because that's some good money. You know where else is some good money? In old VHS tapes, apparently. You have to have VCR, though, although you won't be playing these ones. So apparently, there are some vintage VHS copies of iconic horror films up for a Halloween auction. There's about 100 of them. They're one-of-a-kind items, including an early copy of The Evil Dead, Steven Spielberg's Jaws, and one of 3 known Betamax copies of John Carpenter's original Halloween. God, a VHS. Anyone still have a VCR out there? I bet you if I bet if
don't
I
think I
dig
have
around in my
one.
garage, I still have a VCR.
That's when you
When
know
I
it's time to clean out the garage.
Well, no, because there's VHS tapes I still want to play. When I turned 21 years old, I went skydiving, and they gave me I had the camera guy, and they gave me a VHS. Wasn't on CD or DVD.
No.
It was on a VHS. So if I ever want to watch it again, guess what piece of technology I need to keep collecting dust in my garage? Did you find out how much they make?
No, I was looking and I haven't found out yet. I'm working. But
Come
then you
on,
started
people.
talking about VHS tapes and I got sidetracked.
Oh, in honor of Kim's birth year, happy belated. I think you mean my birth year. It was my birthday. $19.78. Thank you, JR. I really
Nice.
appreciate
Yeah.
you. Dusta Eisenman with the super sticker for $2.99. Thank you, Dusta. I adore you. Yeah, any little bit helps. The show we can't keep doing it if we run out of cash to continue to put it on. This is my only job. And so we're trying to bring you the best show that we can every day if possible. And so, which I'm going to take a couple of minutes and call out our fabulous producer, John Daly. I was listening to that show. He's like, Nikki takes a lot of vacations. You were talking about, I was like, wait, what?
I heard him
take a
say
lot of
that. And I was like, oh, no, you didn't.
No, you didn't. I know he's just making a flippant comment, but I was like, wait a minute. But yeah, that week of the layoffs, everyone seemed to be on vacation. I had just gone to Nashville and come back. Mark was out of town. There was all kinds of things happening. I don't know who my last interview was. I can't even remember. So it was Wednesday. I can't even remember. I probably could look it up, but yeah, that's a memory test for you. Oh, Lori Gross. Nikki, you can get VHS tapes digitized and keep them on
Yeah.
CD, DVD, or USB. I'm going to go with USB, right? Seems to be the smallest thing that I can store in a box. But technology moves so quickly nowadays. It seems like once you digitize something to one thing, all of a sudden something else is going to come out and I'm going to have to retransfer it all over again. It's the same thing that happens with music and things like that. Okay, we have a lot of things coming up this afternoon. I do want to get into Elon Musk and Twitter. How many of you out there are planning on not using Twitter once he's the head of the company? Or are you going to take a wait and see kind of attitude? I'll read you some of his statement to advertisers who are, I think, a little nervous about him taking over, especially when he had said in the past that he was going to let former President Trump back onto the platform. But before we do that, we need to take a look at the headlines.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
And this report is sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. So the days are getting shorter, the nights longer. Officials now warning heating costs are soaring. The Department of Energy expects heating bills to go up about 28% this season as inflation rises. Axios reports people in the Northeast states, including New York, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, and Maine, could expect caps on heating oil purchases as supplies dwindle. Russia's president says no need to use nuclear weapons in his nation's war with Ukraine. That is what Vladimir Putin is saying at a meeting in Moscow. He was also asked about the plan for the war. He said the Ukrainian resistance has proven Russia was right with its invasion. President Biden is in upstate New York at this hour discussing Micron Technology's plan to build a new computer chip fabrication plant in Syracuse. The White Pine Commerce Park facility is projected to provide a big economic boost and create thousands of jobs over the next several years. Earlier this month, President Biden was in Poughkeepsie, where IBM pledged to invest $20 billion across the New York region over the next decade. There's a new national poll that finds 40% of young people plan to vote in the November election. Pollsters from the Institute of Politics at Harvard's Kennedy School say that's on track to match or exceed the 2018 youth vote. A survey of voters between the ages of 19 and 29 shows they favor Democratic control of Congress, 57 to 31%, with 12% undecided. A former business executive for Kanye West says the rapper has a long history of admiring Adolf Hitler. CNN reports the executive said Kanye would praise Hitler by saying how incredible it was that he was able to accumulate so much power. West has seen major sponsors like The Gap, Adidas, both distance themselves from him after he made anti-Semitic comments about social media. It looks like
Well,
all that's catching up with him. Did you also see the story yesterday, Nikki,
mm,
about him being escorted from the
Skechers?
Skechers office? Yeah.
Yeah.
He like
What
tried to get
the
in there
heck?
after Adidas kicked him out of being their sponsor. So he goes physically to the Southern California offices of Skechers and he's escorted out by security. They're like, no,
Like,
thank you.
we didn't
Mm-mm.
invite you. We don't need any of this nonsense at our it's their headquarters there in Southern California. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. Again, and I feel like every single day there's going to be a new headline with Kanye or Yay. And I always have a little bit of an uncomfortable feeling because of his mental health issues. Like, are we adding to it as this guy is obviously spiraling, but I don't know how we don't cover it. I mean, he's a big name doing these really crazy things.
I don't know. I mean, you know what I was wondering after our conversation yesterday and reading a lot of the chats in the Nikki
Right.
Medoro chat community is if there's a specific mental illness or some type of mental illness that is characterized by racist thoughts,
Mhm.
by bigotry, because it seems like maybe there that might be kind of a side effect or a symptom of some
Right.
type of mental disease, and I don't know exactly what it is. Okay,
Yeah.
last story. Actor Hugh
Okay.
Jackman says Ryan Reynolds pleaded with him daily to reprise his role as Wolverine in Deadpool 3. Speaking to Variety, Jackman says he thinks it was a big shock to Reynolds when he told him he accepted that role. The film will be the 10th time Jackman has suited up as Wolverine. He said he's already bulking up to get back in the character's
Ooh.
shape. So Deadpool 3 is set to hit theaters November 8th of 2024.
Nice,
And
nice.
this report is sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz. For more than 30 years, Steve has put his tax knowledge to work for individuals and businesses alike. If you need help with your taxes, give Steve a call, 888-TAX-DEAL. Catch him online, moskowitzllp.com. I'm Kim McAllister on The Nikki Medoro Show.
Perfect, perfect. And yes, give Steve your business if you have any tax questions. Of course, he is our exclusive founding sponsor. Also, hit that thumbs up button if you have not done it already. You only need to do it once every day for every show, obviously. I had a couple of questions regarding the super chat feature. Now, it's supposed to be, at least what I see when I go to YouTube on my computer, it's a dollar symbol right at the bottom of the live chat, like right underneath the box that has the live chat. And so that's how I see it. But somebody was saying that it might be in a rectangle or maybe even a heart, a dollar sign. So hit it. I mean, yeah, nothing's gonna blow up. So give it a try. And if you can, of course, please donate any amount. We appreciate any amount to keep the show going so that we are here for you Monday through Friday from noon until 2.
And
Um,
if you can't somehow figure out the whole YouTube system because it might be a little complicated,
yeah,
then go to thenikkimedoroshow.com where you can find other ways to help.
perfect, perfect. All right. Speaking about being online, Elon Musk says Twitter will not be a free-for-all hellscape because advertisers are pretty concerned. So he actually tweeted out his message. It said, "Dear Twitter advertisers." Now, as far as his reason for acquiring Twitter, he says it's because it's important to the future of civilization to have a common digital town square where a wide range of beliefs can be debated in a healthy manner without resorting to violence. There is currently great danger that social media will splinter into far right wing and far left wing echo chambers that generate more hate and divide our society. Let's stop right there on his statement. I agree to an extent. But if you don't have any sort of rules at all, of course it's going to turn into a hellscape. It just seems you have to have some content moderation. And when you have people like a former president or lawmakers touting and tweeting out, let's say on Twitter, extreme ideas or misinformation or, fake news, literal fake news that's been, digitally altered, when they're doing that and then there's a consequence for it and they scream censorship, that's not the same thing. It used to be conspiracy theorists and these extreme beliefs when they were shared. It was, someone with 10 numbers past their username. Now it's like Ted Cruz. What do you do with that? You have to punish these people, like the former president, remove them from the platform because, like January 6th showed us, this can lead to disaster. It really can. Yeah, Elon Musk claims he acquired Twitter to help humanity. I mean, the guy has quite the ego. Now, going back to his statement, he says, I didn't buy Twitter because it would be easy. I didn't do it to make more money. I did it to try to help with humanity, whom I love. And I do so with humility. Okay. Recognizing that failure in pursuing this goal, despite our best efforts, is a very real possibility. That said, Twitter obviously cannot become a free-for-all hellscape where anything can be said with no consequences. In addition to adhering to the laws of the land, our platform must be warm and welcoming to all, where you can choose your desired experience according to your preferences, just as you can choose, for example, to see movies or play video games, ranging from all ages to mature. So let's stop there. Now, on one hand, he's saying we don't want echo chambers. On the other hand, he's saying you can have these preferences. What is that going to look like? If you can, click and choose what you want to see and what you don't want to see, you're just going to start creating a bit of an echo chamber unless they have something within their algorithm that's like, this is something completely opposite. Now time for something different. He also
did you see this video of him walking into the Twitter headquarters carrying a sink? He's got a sink.
I don't understand it.
Entering Twitter HQ. Let that sink in.
The guy, I'm not saying he's not smart. Obviously, very smart guy. But I just don't know if he really reads the room. You have announced that you are planning on laying off 75% of the workforce at Twitter in San Francisco, I guess and abroad, but 75% of Twitter employees could be fired. And he's walking in with a sink. I mean, I just don't think that that's going to ease people's minds that this company is in the right hands. I just don't. Now, as far as advertising, I also very much believe that advertising, when done right, can delight, entertain, and inform you. It can also show you a service or product or medical treatment, Dr. Oz, that you never knew existed, but is right for you. For this to be true, it's essential to show Twitter users advertising that is as relevant as possible to their needs. Low relevancy ads are spam, but highly relevant ads are actually content. Facebook made me buy it. I was talking about the dumplings, the soup dumplings that Facebook made me buy because they look delicious. I get the type of content, but I'm not ready to give up Twitter. Now, Kim, you're not deep and you're not always on Twitter, are you?
I have Twitter. It's at McAllister Kim. McAllister with 2 C's, 2 L's. At McAllister Kim. And sometimes I tweet things out, but not very often. It has to be a pretty big news story for me to seek out Twitter.
Right. And so it wouldn't be hard for you to give it up is what I'm asking.
Nah.
See, for me, it would be a huge thing for me to give up my Twitter account.
I think I'm on it more than I post. So I'll go for a lot of news stories. All of the law enforcement agencies, the first thing they do is tweet out breaking news now. So I use it a lot for that, I would say, but not for myself to retweet that type of stuff.
Oh, I see. I use it for entertainment. I do it for topics. I do it for news. I've been blocked only by 2 people on Twitter. One was Scott Baio, which is a source of pride for me, and I should put it in my handle. Scott Baio blocked me. And then also this guy, from The Deadliest Catch. He blocked me. I don't know if you know that show. It's about
Was it the narrator, Mike Rowe?
Oh, no, Mike Rowe would never. Block me. Are you kidding? No. It was actually one of the captains on the show. It's like a reality about like crab fishing. And one of the crab fisher captains blocked me simply because I said he looked like this character in Deliverance that plays the banjo and is the kid.
That
He
wasn't very
does.
nice.
But he does. And I wasn't saying but whatever. Was it the nicest thing that I ever said? No. Was I right? Yes, I was totally right. And he blocked me. So whatever. If anyone watches The Deadliest Catch and wants to find said captain, you'll get a shout out because he looks exactly like him. Okay.
Scott Baio's Twitter account. You're not on there. I get to be on there, but you're blocked.
I don't even care. Scott Baio can kick it. He can kick rocks is what I mean. You know who can't kick rocks? Is our friend and tax attorney, Steve Moskowitz, who joins us now. Oh, Steve, let's put you in the stream, shall we? There we are.
Hey.
Why is he not coming in? There we go. I think Kim and I are hitting it at the same time.
Yeah, we are.
Steve Moskowitz, MoskowitzLLP.com, 888 tax deal. Steve, I was saying at the top of the show, we just recently had a conversation about taxes, and the thing that I love about you is you're able to explain it to people in a way that they understand, whether it's qualifying for the ERC, whether it's what they can do to make sure that they're not audited. That is a skill that you possess, my friend.
Well, thank you so much. And I really do enjoy explaining things. When I very first started out my career, I was a professor, so I would explain this to, when I taught in law school to the new attorneys, when I taught in graduate school to the new CPAs, when I taught in university to people, just starting to experience this stuff. And over the years with all the TV and the radio, basically, it's just like if I go to a doctor, explain it in terms that I can understand. Don't try to impress me with how smart you are with words. I have no idea if that's good or bad.
Right.
Just tell me what it is. And that's what I try to do. Simple English.
Exactly. And so when people, let's say, call you about the ERC, Steve, and they want to know if they qualify, and they've been doing their tax Google search, that may not give them the right answers, correct?
There's a lot of challenges. There's a lot of wrong information because I look at it myself and I say, well, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. There's a lot of outdated information that'll give you the wrong information because that was the law before it was changed, and now it's giving you totally wrong information.
Right.
For example, it used to be that you had to choose between PPP and ERC, and the law was changed and said no more. Well, if you look at one of the old sites, you say, oh, well, you had PPP, you can't get, no, you can get ERC even if you have PPP, but there's a special rule. And talking about rules, there's two ways to qualify for ERC, and that's where you can get up to $26,000 for every employee that you have that qualifies. One way is real easy. It's math. Did you have a certain drop in gross revenue? Yes or no? That's it. Nothing to talk about. But a lot of firms, a lot of CPAs are stopping there and saying, well, that's it. If you don't have the drop, no ERC for you. Wrong. There's another way, because the law says either or, but it's way more complex. We have to figure out, did you have a full or partial closure, a facts and circumstances test. For example, in California, there was a mandate from the beginning of the pandemic until June 15th, 21, that if you had a business inside, even an essential business like Safeway, a food store, you could only use 25% of your business. Well, that means that Safeway had a 75% government-ordered partial closure. That may qualify you. Supply chain disruptions, that may qualify you. And all other types of things. We'll actually take the time to sit down with you, go over it with you. And not everybody qualifies, but a lot of people do. If you don't qualify, we'll tell you why. You don't qualify because of X. If you do qualify, yes, even though your gross revenue didn't go down enough, some people's gross revenue went up. How could that be? How can you lose business and have your gross revenue go up? Easily. As one of my clients said, that his products used to cost him $7 a unit. His cost went up from $7 to $22 a unit. Wow. He had to raise his fees to cover that. He said he lost a lot of business, but his gross revenue went up. Well, that could be an example. And a lot of other things. We take the time and we go over it with you. And what I would want to really stress to your viewers is avoid the two harmful extremes. One extreme is people that are only doing the easy way and not the facts and circumstances test. That can cause you to lose a tremendous amount of money. So even if you've been told you don't qualify because of that, talk to us. On the other hand, avoid like the plague the fraudsters, because there's a lot of fraud going on right now, who are telling everybody they qualify and they don't, and filing fraudulent forms. And especially, Nikki, there's a lot of companies that just came into existence just to do ERC. That's it. No background, nothing. just do ERC. And then they're going to fold their tents and disappear. And when the IRS has a few questions for you, they're going to be nowhere to be found. We're a law firm. We've been around for over 30 years. We're here for you. Obviously, we want you to avoid like the plague either extreme. We'll tell you how it is. And if you qualify, you may be entitled to a substantial amount of money.
I like that. Give Steve a call. 888 tax deal or MoskowitzLLP.com. Go ahead, Kim.
Just a couple pieces of a question and a piece of business. Nancy, who just kicked in $10. Thank you, Nancy.
Thanks, Nancy.
She also wants to thank Steve Moskowitz for supporting all of us. And so just another moment here to thank Steve being a founding and exclusive sponsor for both Mark and Nikki's show here online.
Well, Nancy, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And remember, I've been a long-time listener to Nikki and Mark as well. Always enjoy the shows. And if I don't have time to listen in the daytime, I listen to you in the evening.
So
Thank you so much, Steve.
And I had a question because I was looking at your website and it talks about education. So I already knew that you were a lawyer and a CPA, but you've got an MBA as well.
Yes, I do. So I have a bachelor's degree in accounting, a master's degree in accounting, a CPA,
wow,
law degree that all lawyers have. And then I went on and I got an advanced law degree, specialization in tax, which very few lawyers have.
Is that what the LL.M
That's the
is?
LLM.
What does
Yes.
that stand for?
That's a master's in law. So what happens is the first law degree is a JD,
Wow.
Juris Doctorate. The advanced one is the master's in law.
Way too smart to be on my show, Steve. That's what I think.
No,
Overachiever much? Wow.
He's an expert. That's what I'm saying. Like, Steve, you are the guy to call, and I really
simple
appreciate
guy.
it.
Do you know when I was in high school, my high school, I didn't maybe go to the best high school in the best neighborhood. My high school determined that I fit the profile of a high school dropout, and they put me in the high school dropout program.
What?
Wow.
Not bad for a person that was in the high school dropout program. And also, you know, when people call me Sir and Mr., I say, I'm a simple guy. Do you know what I was before I was a CPA and tax attorney? I was a New York City taxi cab driver.
Wow. Look at that. I love
I'm
your
just a simple
story.
guy that went to school for a long time.
Yep.
Wow. And we get to benefit from it. And that's why I love having you as our exclusive and founding sponsor. I mean, if that pedigree, if that background, if that resume doesn't do it for you, I don't know what will. So again, give Steve Moskowitz a call for any tax need, any of it. I mean, look, he just gave us his resume. He could do it all for you. He can even take you to the airport. Apparently he was
There
a
you
taxi
go.
There you go.
While
Steve,
you're
thank you
talking
so
taxes
much.
in the taxis. That's right.
There you go.
There you go. Of course, who wouldn't?
We'll talk again soon, Steve. Thank you
Thanks.
so
Bye-bye.
much. Bye. Wow. I do want to take a moment also, in addition to thanking Steve, to thank Kim Pollock. $100, $100 from
You're
Kim
too
Pollock.
generous.
Oh,
Nice.
thank you so much. That it warms my heart that you guys believe in our show and want to see it happening all of the time. And so thank you from the bottom of our hearts. There was a comment made earlier. Oh, yes. Thank you for the reminder. That's the super chat that Kim and Nancy and so many others are using. That's how you donate to the show. It's the $ right underneath the comment box. That's right. I'm right about that, right, Kim? I mean, does it look differently on your neck of the woods?
Some people say it's different. And then if you don't have a Google account, if you're just listening, but you haven't signed in so you can participate in chat, it also might look different. So I think the better idea, if it's confusing, is just to go to thenikkimedoroshow.com. And if you want to help us out, you'll find other ways to do so there. Also links to the shows. We welcome any and all listeners. If you can share though on your social media platforms and get people to listen and like it, subscribe to it, we'd love the help there as well.
Absolutely. And then JR was giving this tip. Super chat icon will show up on the line in chat where you type as a $ in a box. Once an episode is archived, you can also donate by clicking the $ heart on the episode controls. So you can even donate if you listen to this as a recording. I love this question from Sherry Hughes. Nikki, I've been curious about the photo behind you. Wondering who that guy is. That is Matthew, my kind of hottie. That is Matthew McConaughey, heartthrob of mine. It's been a long running. It's not a joke. I mean, deadly serious. I just adore him as an actor. And, obviously he's very easy on the eyes, but I have been a huge fan of Matthew McConaughey. And so it's just kind of been this running gag. And that's his book. Green lights. I actually interviewed his wife not too long ago on Station X. Very, very nice woman. But yeah, so that's, and I think somebody was exactly my kind of hottie. Somebody asked, how does my husband feel about Matthew right there? And not a picture of my husband. I don't think he gives two licks. Like, he knows that I adore Matthew McConaughey. Chris B, super chat for some super lotto mojo. Yes.
Yeah.
Might have to go buy another ticket now. There we go. All right. Now, somebody was talking earlier about Elon Musk. Oh, here it is. Randy Bruling. Why the negativity toward Elon Musk? The guy's a genius. Tesla, SpaceX. He's funded the Starlink satellite internet service for Ukraine. True. And he spent millions of dollars doing that. I agree. I think the issue with Elon Musk, though, is he's also kind of a troll. And I don't mean that in like the most negative way possible. I think he says things to rile people up. And when you have a platform like that, you need to be responsible, right? With great power comes great responsibility. And I think that there's a lot of concern that he's going to let Trump back on Twitter. If Trump was back on Twitter and was doing what he did before and spewing election fraud nonsense, I mean, that tells me all I need to know about Elon Musk. So no, I don't think that Elon should do it. I think he'll lose advertisers if he does it. I'm not disagreeing with you about his intelligence. Yes, very smart guy, very rich guy. Can use his money in any way he wants to. I don't think he really actually wants to buy Twitter, but he does. And he is. Apparently it's going to close tomorrow. Is Matthew your hall pass? JR asks.
Well, yes.
I love my husband. I mean, yeah, the daydream, like whatever, but not really. No, I would never. I adore my husband. All right. All right. So let's move on.
You can adore your husband and appreciate the fine qualities of another fella.
If I was invited to a movie premiere and Matthew, my kind of hottie, was there, and I was married to my husband, and Matthew, my kind of hottie, was hitting on me, I'd go home to my husband. I mean, I'd be flattered, and I'd take tons of pictures. A hall pass? Would you ever have a hall pass? I mean, if you're seriously asking, would I ever have an affair on my husband? No, I would never have an affair on my husband. But would I go out of my way to meet Matthew McConaughey in person? Yes. And if you have ever seen me when I want to meet somebody and how excited I get about it, I'll have to find some pictures. I met Jerry Rice once. I met Randy Lott. I was so excited. I literally jumped into Jerry Rice's arms when I met him, and he was so taken aback. But I was like, I just love you. And was very, very excited. I think that's what would happen if I ever met Matthew McConaughey. I would just like jump in his arms, say I've been such a fan, and praise all of his work, and that's about it. Speaking of things that are false online, did you see this story? So apparently, the First Lady, Dr. Jill Biden, she was at a reception to celebrate Diwali recently. And there was a video clip that's been circulating online where she's at a podium and she's saying nice words. When we realize that even the smallest flame can illuminate our path home. Just this whole thing about Diwali. Apparently it sounds, and I'm not going to play it because there's a cuss word in it, and I'm really cautious about what YouTube's algorithm is going to do here. But apparently it sounds like a kid in the background that tells her basically to F off while she's speaking. And the way that it's clipped, you don't see the crowd. You only see the First Lady. And she kind of looks over with a face, but then it pauses. I mean, she could just be looking off into the distance and whatever. Well, it's been making the rounds, and it's being fact checked and like with clips of news camera footage and all of these things. And this is what I think people are concerned about. Now, one of the Twitter accounts that shared this was a Twitter handle called @PoppyTrumpo. And it has a picture of former President Trump with like a mustache. I don't know what it's supposed to look like. So obviously a parody account. Shouldn't really believe it. But these are the things I think people worry about with Elon Musk taking over Twitter. Not that stuff like this isn't allowed on there, but that misinformation will be allowed under this guise of free speech and being a platform to highlight all kinds of, ideas and viewpoints. Well, there's facts and there's falsehoods. And when those falsehoods lead to crimes, lead to violence, I don't know if he's going to be the best, guardian of a very popular social network, but I'm going to take a wait and see attitude. I'm going to be honest. I like using Twitter, and so I think I'm going to continue until it gives me a reason not to.
Something interesting regarding that Jill Biden story, the Associated Press did a little deep dive and a fact check on that. So they say the claim is that the video shows a child swearing at First Lady Jill Biden and telling her to shut up. The AP looking into it, and they say that the audio is from a separate video screaming at a teacher was dubbed over the end of the Biden clip. Yes, so that it was an edited video, and that didn't really happen live factually.
Oh, well, yeah, obviously it didn't happen live. It didn't happen while the First Lady was speaking. And yes, it's Ronnie Lott, not Randy Lott. I don't know why I was saying that. Thank you so much. Yeah, I don't know why people like to do these things, except it's for clicks and likes and retweets and things like that. But it's shared with this belief of, oh, thanks, kid. Cuss out the First Lady because she's married to President Biden and you don't like him politically. Does this help move the conversation forward? On one hand, I'm like, it's a parody account. On the other hand, I just don't want Twitter to turn into a place where this is all we see. Doctored videos, now that we know what can be done with putting faces on people and make them look like they're saying something they're not not actually saying. That's the danger. That's where all this is heading. Our technology moves faster than the safeguards do. That's how it always has been. We have this exciting new technology. Everyone starts to use it, and then it's exploited for either a dark or evil way. And then we have to go back and try to fix it. But, it's hard to rein something in once it's out like that. And I don't know how we get control over it. But again, a wait and see attitude with Elon Musk's Twitter. And I think I'm right. I think tomorrow is when the deal is supposed to close. And we'll see how many people actually fall off the platform. But maybe he's anticipating a lot, because 75%, that's the estimated total of Twitter employees, could be laid off. All right, we're going to do some news. Again, hit that thumbs up, that like button. If you can, donate to the super chat, donate to our Patreon. All the links can be found on our website, thenikkimedoroshow.com. We always appreciate everybody's help and support. It just makes such a difference on the show. So again, thenikkimedoroshow.com. You can find our Patreon, click the thumbs up, and donate to our super chat if you can. But right now, some headlines.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
And this report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. There is a mass exodus from the island nation of Cuba, and they're showing up at our southern border. Experts say they're fleeing corrupt governments, a corrupt government that has destroyed the economy there. Texas A&M professor Raymond Robertson says it's the largest migration away from the Caribbean nation since the 1980s. And as we've been mentioning, the fallout continues over Kanye West's anti-Semitic remarks. Peloton announcing yesterday it will not include any of the rapper's music in new classes, and old classes that feature his songs will not be suggested to members. In London, Madame Tussauds removed its wax figure of Kanye, or Ye, as he likes to be called. More National Guard members reportedly headed over to New York City's homeless shelters to help manage overwhelmed facilities, working to find housing and services for migrants there. There are reports that they are being trained on homeless services, supporting staff, and distributing food. That's in addition to the 100 troops sent to the Randall's Island tent city earlier this month to provide operational support. Los Angeles' most famous celebrity is ready to debut its new makeover. The Hollywood sign gleaming brightly atop the Hollywood Hills again after finishing a month-long renovation on Wednesday. 400 gallons of new paint used to spruce up that icon. A 54-year-old Indonesian woman is dead after a huge snake swallowed her alive. Ugh. The woman's family started looking for her when she didn't return after going to the forest to collect rubber. 2 days after she went missing, villagers came across a 22-foot-long python with a bulge in its stomach. apparently cut open the snake, found the woman's undigested remains inside of it. Indonesian media reporting she was swallowed whole in a painful ordeal that would have taken at least 2 hours from her head to her toes. I can't even.
Oh
Man.
my God. Like, I can't even obviously imagine what that would feel like. Are you, this is going to get dark. Sorry. Do you think she died because her body was crushed or suffocated because she was inside?
Well, I think pythons first crush you
Yeah,
and then
right.
swallow you, but I don't know. They said she was swallowed alive. I don't know. I mean, it's hard
Well,
for me to visualize.
what did they start at the feet? Wasn't that like a Shel Silverstein?
Oh
Oh,
yeah. Well, no, there was I remember an older children's kind of parable or poem
yeah.
where the snake swallowed its own tail. Is that what you're talking about?
No, this one I felt like maybe I don't know, but I'm just trying to
It
imagine like it. Did the python start at her feet or at her head?
it said 2 hours from head to toe, so I'm thinking
Oh,
head,
head to
but
toe.
I don't know. At least head, it would be over quickly. I don't even know. It's so
I
gross to
don't
even
know. I mean, it's so,
ponder.
and I'm not trying to make light of it. I'm just dissecting the story. So there we go.
That's a good word. Ding for you. This report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz. For more than 30 years, Steve has put his tax knowledge to work for individuals and businesses alike. If you need help with your taxes, don't for a ride to the airport. You give Steve a call at 888 tax deal. Talk about your taxes or get him online, moskowitzllp.com. I'm Kim McAllister on the Nikki Medoro Show.
Awesome. All right. So coming up in about 10 minutes or so, we will be joined by Dorani Pineda. Now, Dorani covers the drought in California for the LA Times. And, because of the drought, and we bitch and moan about this all the time, right? The water companies ask us to conserve, and then we conserve water, and then they raise our rates. And there are millions of Californians who cannot afford their water. And Governor Newsom vetoed a bill. Oh, let's turn the music off, shall we? Governor Newsom actually vetoed a bill that would have required all California community water and wastewater systems to offer rate assistance to residential water customers. He vetoed that bill. So I'll speak with Dorani about that. Why did the governor veto that bill? And then, of course, the live chat is up. How much more are you paying for your water? And how much higher can some of these bills go? So I don't know about how cold you are in your house, Kim, but we did turn on the heater most recently.
Oh, no. That
Yeah.
doesn't happen until December 1st.
Oh, yeah. No, we turned it on. Well,
Wear
my
a
daughter's
sweatshirt.
been a little under the weather, and so
Oh,
she's
yeah.
really been cold. And
Yeah.
so we're just like, screw it. I mean, when you don't feel well, no amount of blankets will warm you up. And so we turned on the
Yeah,
heat,
that's true.
and it's
Mhm.
been helping at night and what have you. And so, yeah, but I just paid my PG&E bill, and it's about 150 to $200 with nothing. We don't have AC with the fans and lights and everything and the gas. But I'm not looking forward to what my bill is going to look like once the heater is turned on. And then add to that rising water rates that millions of Californians cannot afford to pay. So again, Dorani Pineda with the LA Times will join us coming up around 1:15. Today is October 27th, and it's Navy Day, United States Navy Day. It salutes all the military personnel who have served, both past and present, in
Nice.
the United States Navy. And of course, that has a special place in my heart because my husband, my sister-in-law, my father-in-law, I think my husband's grandfather, they all served in the Navy. And so go Navy.
So did my dad.
Happy. Oh,
We're
so
with
did
you.
your dad say, look,
Yeah.
go Navy.
And
There
my
you go.
husband was a Marine, and so that's kind of falls under
Oh,
the
yeah.
Navy
They
umbrella.
get their own
He's gonna
day,
come
though.
marching into this office any second and tell me that is not true.
Yeah. Every branch I think gets their own day. So today's the Navy Day, and we'll definitely highlight if anybody wants to send over. I love to obviously give props to our military and the men and women who serve our country each and every day. But today, go Navy. Also, there was a bunch of stories I wasn't able to get to. Oh, speaking of shortages, water shortages. Remember, was it last week or was it earlier this week? Everything's blending together. We were talking about how the tech layoffs the businesses going to remote work or what have you, was leading to layoffs for the shuttle bus drivers. Remember? The shuttle bus drivers are losing their job because there's no workers to take them from where they live to, the tech company headquarters. Well, I think I may have found a solution. So apparently transit agencies, data shows transit agencies are down at least 200,000 drivers. So can we not connect these shuttle bus drivers to the agencies that need them? So I'm seeing this article. Chris Van Eiken is with the Transit Center. And it says that during the last AC Transit meeting, they've called it a bus operator crisis. Nationwide, the latest data shows transit agencies are down at least 200,000 drivers, but actually maybe higher due to the effects of the pandemic. They say experts say
people just aren't taking the buses anymore, and so that's why.
Well, yeah, public transportation. Now they're saying there's multiple reasons for the shortage. Transit jobs are concentrated in high cost of living cities for the most part, and the wages are not enough, of course, to keep the operators in that area. On top of the worries about salary and cost of living, safety concerns and the physical impact of the job are also a concern. The average worker in the industry tends to be older than in other fields. They're more likely to suffer from diabetes, high blood pressure because of the sedentary nature of the job. And having a job where you can't properly use the bathroom makes things worse. So now their transportation experts are urging local transit agencies to take action very quickly. And so I'm saying, look, if we got shuttle bus drivers out of a job because Facebook is allowing more remote work or whatever, or Apple or fill in the blank company that used to use the shuttles, tap that job market and you might be able to at least a little bit connect people with the jobs and the service that they need. Mortgage rates top 7% for the first time since 2002. According to Realtor.com's mortgage calculator, the monthly payment on a 30-year fixed mortgage for a $1.26 million home in the Bay Area with a 20% down payment, because who has that? It was over $8,300 at current interest rates.
God, can you even imagine? I couldn't afford to buy the house I live in if I had to buy it today. Couldn't.
Oh God, no! Everyone in the Bay Area says that now. But this is what's shocking. So $8,300, the average mortgage, after you put 20% down, which is for a $1.26 million home. Okay, at this time last year, that $8,300 mortgage was $5,900. That's the difference that these interest rates are making on people's mortgages right now. That's crazy. I don't know who can afford these mortgages. I just don't. Oh, thank you. Ricky Freed just doubled my monthly Patreon. Up yours. All right, Ricky, I'll read that. Thank you so much. Brett Finberg with the best piece of advice right now. Click that like button, people. It helps, expose other people that aren't live right now to our show. YouTube, from what I have read, Kim, YouTube loves live shows because you're usually talking about current events and different types of topics. And so it's like new material for them to offer to people that like to watch things on YouTube. And so if you hit the like button, it kind of triggers something in YouTube's AI and it helps us out. And so that is one understanding I have with why it's so important to click the thumbs up, but also make sure that you only click it once. Because if you click it twice, it goes away.
Like us trying to get Steve Moskowitz on the air. Clickety, clickety, clickety.
click. Marilyn chatted in. Every bill I pay has increased. It really feels like price gouging. It's just awful. Absolutely.
That's true.
You combine these rising interest rates with mortgage rates. Now, on one hand, people are saying, well, I've been saving every dime I have because I want to be able to afford a home in the Bay Area where I live, work, where I was raised. And they are kind of waiting for the market to cool because hopefully it'll bring prices down. On the other hand, we're talking about the bus driver shortage. Wages are not keeping up. They were looking at a $1.26 million home as if that is a price point that people feel comfortable paying. It's not. It is so out of the possibility of people being able to afford. So many people just can't do that. They cannot make a 1.2, let alone come up with a 20% down payment and compete against people who are paying all cash. So it's hard. It is rough out there right now for people. And again, that's also why I appreciate every single dollar amount that people donate to this show, because I know so many of us are watching our discretionary spending, right? I'm doing it. You all are doing it. And that is why I really appreciate every little bit of help that you guys can give, even if it is, honestly, even if it's just that thumbs up, subscribing, and sharing with your friends and family. I mean, if you can't afford it, at least not today, but maybe tomorrow, at least do that. And that helps us so, so much. And I want to throw out the website one more time. Well, one more time right now. The NikkiMedoroShow.com is where you'll find links to our Patreon, to our YouTube channel, anything you want. You can also email me there. You can also just email me directly, the Nikki Medoro Show at gmail.com. Either way, I get it. And I do read them all. I can't respond to them all. I'm only one person and I'm my own producer and host and everything else behind the scenes. So I do read them and I try to respond usually on the weekends to as many as I can. And if I haven't responded to you, please don't take it personally. I'll try to get to it as quickly as possible. Okay, so as we wait for Adorni to come up, and another fallout from Kanye West. Did you hear that his Donda Academy school that he named after his mom that passed away, Donda Academy, it's closed for the rest of the school year.
Oh,
so
nobody signed up to go there?
No, there's people there. In an email viewed by The Times, the principal of Donda Academy, Jason Engel, said that at the discretion of our founder, Donda Academy will close for the remainder of the school year, effective immediately. Says there's no school tomorrow. Now, it was named after West's late mother. Charges $15,000 a year, requires parents to sign non-disclosure agreements to prevent leaks. The exact location in Simi Valley is a closely guarded secret, but apparently they wear uniforms made. They're a luxury fashion design, Balenciaga. I think I'm pronouncing that right. The uniforms are made by Balenciaga, which was one of the.
Yeah, they just ditched him as a
so maybe they were taking back
spokesman.
all of their uniforms. So yeah, the school closed, which I don't know who.
It's only
apparently
October.
It's
How do you?
Thank you. Who are sending
come
their
on.
kids to this school? And then what are you going to do? You obviously liked, I guess it's faith-based and I don't know, whatever kind of teaching style these parents must have liked. But now they're up a creek because there's no more school for the rest of the year because of Kanye West. And again, it's the fallout that happens when you have someone like this have such a high profile. And so my heart goes out to those kids. That has to be tough. Okay, so let's talk water. Let's talk California water and what is going on here in the state with people who live in low-income households being able to afford literally something that they need to live, which is water. Joining us right now is Dorani Pineda. She covers the California drought for the LA Times. Dorani, thank you so much for coming on our show.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so I guess put this in perspective for us. We've heard, and before I brought you on the show, I was talking about how water companies tell us to conserve, and then we conserve, and then they raise our rates. But we are seeing these rates getting higher and higher. And you talked to a number of people for your article in the LA Times about how much they're having to pay. Can you kind of share some of those stories?
Yeah, so one of the people I spoke with was Rosario Rodriguez. She lives in an unincorporated rural community in Fresno County. And she was telling me that over the summer, she had to make the really tough choice between paying her electric bill and paying her water bill. They're a low-income family of 4, and they opted to pay the electric bill knowing that they can receive some financial assistance. And that left her with some water debt. And this is something that's happening to millions of families across the state as water prices continue to soar.
Now, in your article, you say an estimated 13 million Californians are living in low income households and bear the brunt of soaring water costs. But then you say that Governor Newsom vetoed that Senate bill, which would have helped some of these people. What's going on there? Why would he not want to sign? What did the governor say was his reasoning behind not signing that bill?
Yeah, in his veto bill, he said that they couldn't find any sustainable ongoing um, funding for the bill, and he estimated that the bill would have cost billions. But some of the water affordability advocates that I spoke with said that the governor's office vastly overestimated how much the bill would have actually cost. They said that it would have taken 5 to 10 years for the program to reach into the billions.
So, is there a way, or are you hearing a way of getting some sort of assistance for these people, these low income people? You were mentioning the electric bill and how people can get financial assistance for that. I mean, what is the answer here on how we can have the taps running in some of these households, millions of these households?
Yeah, so there are a couple of financial assistance programs that exist for people who have water debt. The problem with them is that they're one-time financial assistance. So even if someone's debt is paid, it doesn't mean that they'll be able to receive financial help a second or a third time. So water affordability advocates are really kind of urging that this is a crisis that's only going to get worse as water rates continue to soar over the next few decades, and that we need an ongoing sustainable program to help people who will, presumably keep falling into water debt as the cost of living keeps rising.
I'm speaking with Dorney Pineda with the LA Times. So what's the underlying issue here? Is it simply our drought? Is it, upgrading our storage? I mean, why do they continually raise the rates knowing that there are so many Californians, and that number is probably growing, that can't afford it?
There are a couple of short-term and long-term impacts that are factoring into rising water costs. The long-term is that, a lot of water utility companies are replacing their outdated or ancient or falling apart infrastructure, and that costs money. They're also abiding by new treatment standards, and knowing that droughts in California are only going to get worse and aren't going anywhere, they're also investing in more projects and more storage for when we do have rain. Short-term impacts include the drought and water restrictions in particular. So when water use drops across the state, a lot of water utility companies, which have primarily fixed costs, lose revenue. And to make up for that lost revenue, they have to increase their prices either during or after drought so that they can break even.
What do you say when people, make the claim, we don't have enough water, we're building all of this housing, and now all these people are falling into water debt? I mean, are we just creating an exponentially worse problem by building all of this housing and not having enough water storage and not enough water for Californians who live here?
I don't think they have to be mutually exclusive, right? Like California has a big housing crisis as well, and water issues or households' inability to pay utility bills is just kind of an additional factor into that. And I think that kind of the bigger scope of these issues is poverty at large and people's inability to make a living income so that they're not constantly falling into debt, or they don't have a place to live or they can't pay their rent.
Yeah. What about the ripple effect on farmers and the drought and the water and the rising water rates?
I don't know too much about that, honestly. I don't want to
Okay.
talk about
Yes.
that.
No,
I'm
no
not
problem. Well,
entirely familiar with that.
yeah, it just popped into my mind because obviously, our economy is a lot on farming, and we hear about, farmers not getting their allocated amount of water. And then with water rates also going up, it's a finite resource that we seem to be running out of. Dorney Pineda with the LA Times. I will link your article to my social media feeds. I really appreciate you coming on our show, and you're welcome back anytime. Thank you
Much
so much.
obliged. Thanks for
Thank
reaching
you.
out.
Thank
Okay.
you. Yeah. So Dorney Pineda there. It's scary. There was somebody that had texted in And this was pretty frightening. Justin Smith, my Cal Am water bill is more than my PG&E bill. Donald Sutphin, which one was that, Kim? Put the Donald Sutphin one back up there. What's really bad is there are wealthy people that use thousands of gallons a day. That's insane. Yes. You know that I love narking on people that are water wasters. Jim Slayton, this water thing is going to be such a problem. They will soon have to find a place to poop, adding more diseases to our environment. You know, when we talk about things like water, when we talk about things like housing, I do kind of get down in the dumps of, are we really going to be able to solve this? Lori Gross, interesting. I think utility management companies have a racket going with building management companies. Has to start paying water, sewage, garbage for a small one bedroom when they put in the washer and dryer. Seems fair for water. Yeah. Justin Smith, the cost of water is quite a small portion of my bill. The fees and taxes are more than double of the cost of the actual water used. And that's probably what, it goes to what Dorney Pineda with the LA Times was talking about, storage, upkeep, infrastructure, things like that. Linda says my 2-month water bill was $59.75 for consumption, $10.23 for stage rate, and $58.94 for a service charge. Nearly $70 for things I have no control over, and we're a 3-person household. Yeah, I mean, it just seems that there's something going on there. Randy, we live next to the largest reservoir in the world, the Pacific Ocean. Figure it out. Go get the Israelis to come over and help us solve our California water issues. They seem to have figured it out. I'm assuming you're talking, Randy, about desalination. In Southern California, in San Diego, I believe, they have a desal plant. I think they're building another one. I feel like Governor Newsom maybe last month or the month before was touring that. We honestly need to reuse more of the water that goes down our sinks and our toilets. We need to get over that. We have to think outside the box when it comes to stuff like this. Linda gave us $4. When is Kim McAllister's birthday? Thank you, Linda.
It's not until June 6th. It'll be a while.
6th. Oh, you're right by my son. My son's June 9th. So
there you go.
What are you? You're a Gemini? All right.
Yeah.
Gemini. Yeah, there you go. I just feel like with water, though, and the water rates, I mean, in the article, and again, by Dorney Pineda in the LA Times, I'll link to my social media feeds. But some of these stories are heartbreaking. You always hear about people saying, I have to pay for this, so I can't pay for that. I went hungry tonight because I had to pay for this. Water is becoming that. Eric Kennedy writes, utilities should be publicly owned and, unpopular opinion maybe, but basic water access should be a human right. Don't know how we could manage that in a capitalistic society, though. I think that water is a human right. You can't live without water. You can't wash. You can't be clean. Your building codes, if you rent, if you can't get water, your house, if there's no water, sometimes I think that leads to a home being condemned in some cases, depending on how the person is living and how long. Mike says, doesn't everyone in the Bay Area bring home $10,000 a month? Utility costs don't matter. Rent doesn't matter. We're all filthy rich, aren't we? Right?
Yeah.
I sense the dripping sarcasm, Mike, and I feel you. Right. Like we're all supposed to be making so much money. We're all supposed to be able to afford, what was it that I said, like $8,600 a month for a mortgage after 20% down? Give me a break.
Matthew McConaughey agrees. Mike Kanahati agrees.
Thank you, Mike Kanahati. I like that one. He's like pointing at me. He's like, damn, you're right, Nikki. Absolutely.
You go get it, girl.
Yeah, I don't know what the answer is. And I know a lot of you are saying, we can't build any more housing. We don't have enough water. If we don't build the housing, the rents are still going to go up. Mortgage housing costs are going to go up. It's like this never ending cycle. Dave, where'd you move, Dave? Dave, I moved out of the country. Now I have my own damn water. All right, Dave. I don't know where you're living, but thanks for listening. Absolutely. All right. Coming up, we'll do some news. There's in the next half hour, I'm debating whether or not to save this, although I did tease it. You tell me, should I talk about sad nipple syndrome. It's apparently a thing.
Wait, what?
I'll debate that.
Sad nipple syndrome?
Nipple syndrome.
Like your nipples are unhappy and sad?
Maybe that's a tease. I think I'll squeeze that in the next half hour. But yeah, apparently it is a thing. Sad nipple syndrome. I just like saying it over and over again. The news about Brittany Griner. Remember, they upheld her sentence in Russia. So supporters of Brittany Griner, WNBA star, Olympian, they're gonna have a smoke out outside the Russian embassy today at 4:20. I don't know what time it is in Russia right now, so it might have already passed. Probably did. Now, obviously, this comes 2 days after a Russian court rejected Griner's appeal. This is what her supporters say. We want Brittany released and free from the sham charges that Putin imposed on her as his failed invasion of Ukraine backfired and he elevated Russia to the status of most dangerous rogue nation on the planet. That's from Adam Eidinger with the DC Marijuana Justice co-founder. He says, cannabis is a medical and personal choice for adults in America, no matter the party, gender, religion, or race. Putin hates freedom, but that's exactly what we want to give him, a freedom toke. I don't know. You think I don't know if that's the way you want to urge Putin to see your way, is having a smoke out outside the embassy. I mean, you can. It's the Russian embassy, so I don't think they're going to get arrested for doing that. Another criminal case here at home, though. It's actually out of Las Vegas. You just got to love people's confidence, you know? A 28-year-old woman who previously told police that she was too good looking to be arrested is now accused of killing her mother, Kim.
Oh.
Hen Batsami allegedly killed her 62-year-old mother yesterday morning. Officers began looking for the daughter after finding the mother's body. And then they arrested the woman in the morning. She reportedly skipped out on a restaurant tab and violated airport rules at Harry Reid International Airport. But Tommy told officers at the time that she was under arrest because she was so good looking. Soon after, officers working at the gate found a female matching that description, sleeping near a security checkpoint. You'd think she would have hidden a little bit better, but apparently she didn't. Too good looking to get arrested. I don't know about that. Okay, so let's take a little break for news. I also have a special guest coming up tomorrow on our show that I'll tell you about. And yeah, I think we'll talk a little bit of nipples after I have and describe a tale of two responses. When an administration and an administration's officials are accused of violating a law, how does said administration respond? I will talk about that. Apparently, Biden's chief of staff has been warned about a Hatch Act violation. How does the Biden administration respond, and how does it compare to former President Trump? We'll talk about that next. But first, some headlines.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
And this report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. Looks like the debate didn't hurt them too much in Pennsylvania. That's what Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer told President Biden after he arrived in New York. Schumer making a reference to this week's high-stakes encounter between Democrat John Fetterman and Republican Mehmet Oz. Governor Tom Wolf says Pennsylvanians are stronger than hate. He posted the names of the Tree of Life synagogue attack victims to social media today. An alleged white supremacist is accused of carrying out the deadliest anti-Semitic attack in U.S. history 4 years ago today. One Republican senator says Democrats are terrified of Herschel Walker winning his Senate race in Georgia. Speaking at a rally for Walker, Lindsey Graham of South Carolina said Democrats are afraid of that prospect because it means Republicans are not racist.
Oh my God, give me a break. I thought he was going to say something completely different.
Listen to what he wants us to do. He says, quote, I want every liberal jumping off bridges in San Francisco, end quote, after a Walker win. That's what he wants. Walker trying to take down Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock. The race could decide who controls the Senate for the next 2 years. Pretty important because Republicans have introduced a national ban on abortion, among other things. So whoever controls the Senate's got some big decisions ahead.
The fact that he said out loud that the reason why Democrats don't want to, now say it again, they don't want Herschel Walker or afraid of it because it would prove that Republicans aren't racist. Is that what he said?
So Senator Lindsey Graham says Democrats are terrified of Herschel Walker winning his Senate race in Georgia because they're afraid that means Republicans are not racist. So if Herschel Walker wins because he is a man of color, then Republicans aren't racist because they voted for a man of color.
That is the politic. That is Lindsey Graham saying, I have a black friend. That's what that is. That is I'm not racist. I have a black friend. I work with black people. That is literally the same thing. No, it does not mean anything about how some Republicans are racist. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the fact you chose Herschel Walker and you're using his race to show what Lindsey Graham said, and it's not true at all. You're saying, look, here's a black man that we can control. That is what Herschel Walker is to the Republican Party. He is a black man that you can control, and any criticism of him is like, they're racist. They just don't like it that we're not racist because we have Herschel Walker on our side. Lindsey Graham, shut the hell up. I can't believe that. Oh my God.
But I have to just show you the screenshot of this whole thing, if I can actually get it to work. It is a little bit, they call it here
Hold on.
Lindsey Graham paints Herschel Walker as token black guy.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing. I mean, really? He's also going against Warnock, who I don't know if Lindsey Graham knows is a black guy.
It's funny that you zeroed in on it right away because this opinion piece on MSNBC says, let's start with some quick advice. If you're ever caught publicly snarling about how much social capital having a black friend will buy you, stop and think. You've taken a wrong turn somewhere.
I told you. I mean, it's like, no, just because you have Herschel Walker does not make you not racist. But honestly, it's more than that. It is a manipulation. It is the Republican Party. I don't know if Herschel Walker is in on it. I don't know if he's getting paid off. I don't know if he's just an idiot. But he's going to be manipulated by the Republican Party. They're going to force him to do whatever they want him to do. They don't care. Obviously, another woman has come out saying that Herschel Walker paid for her abortion or pressured her to get an abortion. That doesn't matter to Republicans. They just want the Republican in the Senate to vote the way that they want so that they can take away things like our reproductive freedom. That's as simple as it is.
So here's how it went on Hannity I believe yesterday. Pointing his finger at Walker, according to the MSNBC article, Graham told Hannity Walker changes the entire narrative that the GOP is a part. What happens, says Graham, when the Republican Party elects and nominates Herschel Walker, an African-American Black Heisman Trophy winner, right? It destroys the whole.
Oh, you're cutting out there a little bit, but no, it doesn't change the narrative at all. Not one iota. Why do they think that just because you're Black and a popular athlete, you're qualified to run in the Senate? To me, it's just like, let's look around and make it a popularity contest, not anybody that has the skill, the experience, and what's needed to actually lead and represent your state. It's such a manipulation, and it's so blatant. Also, I mean, the guy has admitted on stage, "I'm not very smart." That's fabulous. I love people.
That's who I want representing me in the Senate. Bring it on.
I love that. I love it. I love people that carry Halloween costume shields, right? And say they're not smart to be in the Senate. I mean, I'm just so frustrated. Like, whatever.
Well,
it just
clearly you like that story. I'm going to see if you like this one just as much. Okay. The California Correctional Peace Officers Association bought a multi-million-dollar home in Elk Grove in the Sacramento area, and the president of said association is living in it. In February, the union representing the California State Correctional Officers bought this house for $2.3 million, seemingly with union dues. So union members found out about the purchase Friday via an Instagram post after it was discussed at a meeting with union directors. And now we understand that the president of the correctional union, Glenn Staley, will be living in the home. It's a 5-acre property, 4 bedrooms, 5.5 baths, a swimming pool, 2 large warehouses. In an email to the Sacramento Bee, the spokesman Nathan Ballard says the property will be used for warehouse space, union functions, political events, and employee off-site training. A second union official, though, is living in a 2-bedroom apartment above one of those warehouses.
I wonder which one I would rather have, the apartment or this fancy schmancy multi-million-dollar house. I'd be livid. I'd stop paying my union dues in all honesty. And I'm a huge union proponent, but that doesn't sit right with, I don't know how people say things with a straight face. Lindsey Graham, this union. I mean, it drives me nuts. Whatever.
Oh my, yeah.
Oh my.
Shell Oil is posting a profit of more than, can you guess?
$1 billion.
$9 billion, that would be, Nikki, for the third quarter alone. Shares in the company were up 2.5% after trading opened in London this morning. Shell saying today it plans to increase its dividend by 15% in the fourth quarter. You know, just distribute all that money to
talk about price gouging. Come on, people, but it's Biden's fault. Sure.
Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg says his company will lose more money while it builds the metaverse. In a phone call with analysts, he said Reality Labs' operating losses in 2023 rose significantly year over year. Zuckerberg asking investors to be patient because he believes they will end up being rewarded. And a bird-like dinosaur fossil that's been collecting dust in a museum archive for about 90 years is now being identified as a new species. This fossil has been identified as belonging to a species of turkey dinosaur that lived about 11 million years ago. It's believed to be the long-lost relative of today's turkey. Happy almost Thanksgiving to you, fossil. That's right. And a couple entertainment stories. Black Adam star Aldous Hodge is set to play Alex Cross in an upcoming Amazon series titled Cross. Hodge will star as the famous James Patterson character from the Alex Cross novels. The show will follow Cross after the death of his wife as he hunts down the killers.
James Patterson, hold on. James Patterson is my favorite author.
Is he really?
Well, I like a lot of authors, but his murder mystery books and the Cross series, it's fabulous. If anybody knows James Patterson's work, do you know James Patterson, Kim?
Yeah. I like the Alex Cross series. But then he started doing all these authors, so it would say his name on the front of the book, but it was really written by some other person.
I don't like any of that. I just like the Alex Cross ones. And who was the original person who played Alex Cross in Kiss the Girls? There's the trivia question for you, Kim McCallis.
Was it Denzel?
No, that would have been a good choice. They totally miscast. And you know, when you are reading a book and then you think about the movie and you have certain actors that are in your head, the actor that they chose, who is iconic, is literally the worst choice to play Alex Cross. And it was none other than, anybody know? Morgan Freeman.
Oh.
Yes, it was the worst choice. Kiss the Girls was with Ashley Judd, who I liked her in it. But in the book, there was a little bit of sexual tension, I felt, between Ashley Judd's character and Alex Cross, Morgan Freeman's character. There's no sexual tension between Morgan Freeman and Ashley Judd in that movie. And so I gave it a big thumbs down. Kiss the Girls was the first James Patterson book I ever read. If you've never read a James Patterson book, that is the one to start with. One of my favorite authors. I love him.
And they're getting really young and hip at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. One of the performances for the 2022 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony is being revealed. Singers Alanis Morissette and Olivia Rodrigo will be performing Carly Simon's You're So Vain. Simon is among this year's inductees, along with Dolly Parton, whom we love. Eminem, Pat Benatar, and Judas Priest will receive the award for musical excellence. This year's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony to be held Saturday, November 5th at the Microsoft Theater in Los Angeles. And this report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz. For more than 30 years, Steve has put his tax knowledge to work for individuals and businesses alike. If you need help with your taxes, give him a call, 888-TAX-DEAL. You can catch him on the web, moskowitzllp.com. I'm Kim McCallis. after the Nikki Medoro Show. Yeah,
awesome. Yeah, baby. And click
Yeah,
that like
baby.
button right now. It really helps our show. Click the thumbs up. Our super chat, we're taking in donations throughout the day. Thank you to everyone that has been donating money to the show. Go to thenikkimedoroshow.com to see the link to our Patreon, which really helps us continue growing the show. We're in our second week. We almost have 2 weeks in the can, but we have big plans, and they only happen because of your financial support. So thank you so much. Now, some people were trying to give a different answer to my trivia question regarding who was the actor that played Alex Cross. I was saying in the first one, Kiss the Girls, was Morgan Freeman. Tyler Perry also got the role later on. Was it Cross? Was that the name of the movie that Tyler Perry played? I'm not quite sure, but
That'd be the name of the series, Cross.
yeah. Well, it was a movie that, and Tyler Perry did play the character, but no, Morgan Freeman was the first one. Terrible casting choice.
It's I feel like when you read the book, he's younger than that.
Yeah, and I imagine he's, I don't know, Idris Elba, you know what I mean? Like that kind of, I don't know.
That would have been
right?
good.
I mean, that's what I'm thinking. All right, but when you think of people who are perfect for the role, okay, and you think Taxman, that should be like a superhero. You have to think of none other than our friend and exclusive sponsor, Steve Moskowitz. Yeah, we need to make you a Taxman cape, Steve, because you have all the answers.
I like that.
and so tell us, I mean, you help people every single day keep more of their money, right? I mean, if they qualify for money, you get it for them, and you help them with all of their tax concerns. You're the guy to call. You're the tax man.
That's right. And that's why I became a tax attorney. We were talking about my credentials before.
Yeah.
Bear in mind that I already had a bachelor's and master's degree in accounting. I was already a practicing CPA doing taxes when I set foot into law school on day one as a student. And the reason I did that was I looked at all the Fortune 500 companies making beaucoup, billions of dollars, and legally not paying any taxes. I said, hey, you don't have to be a Fortune 500 to do that. I want to learn these secrets. And that's why I went to law school. I never wanted to chase ambulances or do divorces. I wanted to do taxes. I was always a tax guy. And I did learn a lot of stuff. And in practice, I learned. And the big thing I learned is a lot of people have their own businesses. They work really hard. They ignore their taxes. They don't think about tax planning or any of the benefits like ERC. There are still a lot of people today, they're just ignoring it. They're just too busy doing the daily grind. And I said, my God, you're leaving so much money on the table. And, we've had clients that have gotten anywhere from a few bucks to millions and everything in between, a lot, hundreds of thousands. And I was just talking to a client the other day, 300,000. And I realized people, that get different amounts and not everybody qualifies and everybody's facts and circumstance results can differ. But I want to know. It's like if I go to a doctor, I want to know, what's available for me. What can I do? What are the options? And then you make a decision. And the sad part is most business people work really hard and they have no idea of all the options to them. Even some simple things like I'll talk to them about retirement accounts. Oh, well, what's that? Oh, I don't know. And I said, well, wait a minute. There's 4 major benefits. 1, you pay less taxes. 2, you don't pay any taxes on your earnings while it's in the retirement account. 3, you have cash flow benefits because unlike almost everything else, you can pay for that nearly 3 quarters into the next year and still deduct it in the prior year. And 4, there's special protection. So if you get sued in business, people love to sue business people.
Yeah, I do.
If the plaintiff wins an amount in excess of your insurance, they can't touch your pension. Although I hate to mention his name, the poster boy for this is O.J. Simpson because he's had a multi-million-dollar judgment against him for a long time. He's not lost a penny of his pension. And then we talk about ERC, where the government is handing up to $26,000 for every employee that you have that qualifies. And there's 2 different ways to qualify. And so many firms are just doing the easy way and just ignoring the other way, letting clients miss. And I've had so many of those where people say, well, the other guy told me, and I said, well, it's true that your gross revenue didn't go down enough, but there's another way. And a lot of people qualify under this. The partial closures, like even the essential businesses, like the food stores. And then we have the other situations where, my God, keep away from the fraudsters that are going to do a fraudulent one and get you in big trouble. And I say, look, we're a law firm. We've been around for a long time. We've practiced tax law for over 30 years. And we're here for you. We want to get you every benefit to which you're legally entitled. And ERC is great. We love ERC, and we talk about ERC all the time. But there's a lot of other stuff too. It's just ERC is just so front of mind now, and it won't last forever. And if you're entitled to all this money, my God, let's get it. But that's not the be all end all. There's a lot of other stuff that we want to do for you as well.
Absolutely, because you do it all. I mean, he's a one-stop shop for all of your tax needs, ERC or something else. So you see the number on the website right on your screen, 888 tax deal, or find him at moskowitzllp.com. Steve Moskowitz, you're the tax man. We love you. We'll talk to you later.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Love you too. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, he's awesome. I mean, really, I had I mentioned this earlier. I had a conversation with him yesterday, and I told him, I prefaced the whole entire thing with, Steve, I talk into a microphone. I've done it for more than 20 years. I do not have a business license. I've never taken a business course. I need your help. And Steve is definitely the guy that I want on my side.
He's got a CPA. He's a CPA. He's got a JD, right? He's got a master's in law. He's got a master's in business. I don't even know how you degrees and how much time that has taken. But
he's dedicated his life to it. Yeah.
I'll take all that knowledge. Thank you very much, Steve Moskowitz.
Exactly.
888 tax deal.
And then Murphy chatted in. I truly hope every business owner has applied for the ERC. My small business, 25 part-time staff, received $209,000, covered 5 months of payroll while we were still trying to recover. Murphy, thank you so much for sharing that story. And again, Steve Moskowitz can help you figure out whether or not you qualify. And he finds the way. He puts in the work. So again, 888 tax deal, or find him online at moskowitzllp.com. All right, I've made some promises. I'm going to try to squeeze all of this in before the show is over. Tale of two stories regarding Hatch Act violations. So President Biden's chief of staff, Ron Klain, has been warned about violating rules that prohibit government officials from engaging in campaign activity in their official capacity. It's known as the Hatch Act. Now, apparently, he retweeted a political message on his government Twitter account. Okay. The message touched on infant formula deliveries, but it also included a call to purchase Democratic branded merchandise. Now, Klain took the message down once he heard about the complaint. A White House press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, told reporters, Ron is very careful, takes the Hatch Act very seriously in his media appearances and his use of Twitter, but he got it wrong this time, and he tweeted something that was political. He fixed it as soon as it was pointed out and takes the warning to be more careful seriously. That's how you're supposed to respond. Now let's go back. I wish I had the harp. Trump officials. Officials cited for violating the Hatch Act include White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, Jared Kushner, Kayleigh McEnany, Kellyanne Conway, Stephen Miller, Robert O'Brien, who was the former national security advisor.
Is anyone surprised?
No. Remember the whole Goya thing where Ivanka was like holding up the can of Goya because the president or founder of Goya was praising President Trump? An investigation found then Secretary of State Mike Pompeo changed State Department policy to allow himself to speak at Trump's convention and then referenced official work in his speech. Then acting Secretary of Homeland Security Chad Wolf violated the Hatch Act by presiding over a naturalization ceremony that was orchestrated for convention programming. The report read, both reflect the Trump administration's willingness to manipulate government business for partisan political ends. The administration's willful disregard for the law was especially pernicious. I think I said that right. Considering the timing of when many of these violations took place. Now, it warned the officials, but the former president, who is responsible for enforcing the law for high-ranking officials, never bothered to tell the officials to cut it out. So yeah, Taylor, all the rules, but I don't want to follow them. And again, there's no real punishment. Okay, Disney. Did you hear this story, Kim McAllister?
I don't know. What is it?
Disney has unveiled its first plus size heroine in a film about body dysmorphia. Apparently, in the company's 85-year history making movies, plus size characters have only ever been featured as villains or extras. But this film is entitled Reflect. And I actually do have a picture. I'm going to put it up here for you. I have a picture of what the character looks like. There you go. And again, the movie is Reflect, follows the story of a young plus size ballet dancer named Bianca, who battles her own reflection, overcoming doubt and fear by channeling her inner strength, grace, and power.
Okay.
I like this. I mean, it's one of those examples of I see myself on the screen. I see myself. I can even think of Halle Bailey, who's going to be playing Little Mermaid. She's a Black actress, and many people are like, "Oh my God!" Now, do you think there will be backlash, Kim McAllister?
Well,
do you think that people are saying, "Oh, this is celebrating that whole thing"?
People will, but I was just reading as you're talking that it's the story animation artist behind this also did Frozen 2 and Encanto. So that right there is like, and I like Frozen 2 and 1. And she says she wanted to tell this particular story because she said, I feel like I'm a very body positive person in principle, but when it's on a personal level, it's a lot harder to be body positive. And she said she picked the setting of a dance studio because mirrors are required to master movements. And she wanted the character Bianca somewhere that she has to look at herself when she doesn't want to.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. I think it could be really good. And the story, I think, it's not just the whole, like, let's put people that are overweight in the latest Abercrombie and Fitch catalog. It's not that. It actually tells a story about someone's experience, which I think is a valuable thing for us to hear.
Absolutely. And the whole thing with body dysmorphia, if you don't know, it's where people see themselves a certain way, even though they don't actually look that way. You see it a lot with people that have eating disorders, right? They pinch some skin and they see themselves as fat. They look in the mirror and they see somebody that looks a way that they don't actually look. And that's awful. And I can't imagine walking through life like that. So I think that this is going to be good. And of course, Disney's behind it. The Frozen people and Kanto people are behind it. And so I'm excited to see that movie. And then finally, we'll talk about it. Sad nipples. Do you have sad nipple syndrome? All right. So this is going around.
Just hearing you talking about it makes me sad.
Okay. So this is what it is. People with this condition are going viral on the internet right now. They say they feel a fleeting rush of negative emotion when their nipples are touched.
What?
Whether they accidentally brush them in the shower while changing their clothes or when a partner touches them during foreplay. Those who experience sad nipple syndrome often use similar emotional vocabulary to describe the sensation. Okay, this is how they feel: homesickness, dread, guilt, sadness, doom, a pit in the stomach. I don't know, Kim. Without going into too much detail, are you sad when your nipples are touched?
I am absolutely not sad. I am quite.
Yeah. And apparently there's one TikToker,
Lord.
she's like, am I the only one that feels this way? Others on TikTok describe it more poetically as the same feeling of being at a sleepover for too long, or like 4 p.m. on a Sunday. And then finally, for longing for some place that doesn't seem to exist. Imagine having all of those emotions simply by the brush of a nipple. I'm not
Who
sad.
knew? And why have we not heard of this till now? There's a 24-year-old woman who is telling, on HuffPost, Tavi Van. Okay. She says she feels an intense rush of sadness when her nipples are touched. She says, quote, similar to how it feels when you touch your belly button. But along with the sadness, I feel a mix of anxiety, discomfort, and maybe a slight sense of impending doom, as you said.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy.
I find that to be so weird.
Well, and they say that, I mean, the nipples, and anybody that's been pregnant knows this, right? Nipple stimulation can kind of get things going, they claim, right?
Mhm.
Apparently, stimulating the nipples triggers the release of oxytocin in the bloodstream. And those receptors are located in the muscle like cells of the mammary glands. And so maybe it's kind of a tweak, or I don't know, something's happening there where they don't like that feeling, and something happens in the brain which causes these really sad feelings in people. So, if you feel sad when your nipples are touched, know you're not alone, and there's a group on TikTok just for you.
I can get behind her whole belly button thing. Like I don't necessarily want people sticking their fingers in my belly button. That's kind of oogie. Not depressing or sad, but just like, stop it. Don't do that.
I don't care. I don't care if somebody touches my belly button. I know people that don't like it at all, which is such an odd thing. It's really it's the belly button. It seems to be one of those sensitive areas. Either you like it or you don't. But I never thought I'm going to be sad to have my nipples touched. What a sad
no.
thing. Yeah. All right.
I think maybe that's we need attention today. That's a tall tale.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Well, we'll put it out there. You guys can let us know. Have you ever felt sad? I mean, come on. I mean, it's kind of like, have you ever felt sad on a wave runner? It's like, someone's touching your nipples. You would hope that you like it. I don't know. We'll see. Anyone suffer from sad nipple syndrome? Let us know in the comments. Also, as we close out the show, thank you for everyone that donated to our super chat. It's that $sign right under the live chat where you can throw us some money, and it really helps with the show. We had some people throwing us $100. I mean, it was just amazing to see the donations today and every single day on the show. Go to thenikkimedoroshow.com. A link to our Patreon where you can be a monthly subscriber to the show. You want to donate to the show. You want to make sure that it happens every single day, Monday through Friday from noon to 2. That's how you can help us. Plus, there will be links to our YouTube channel and everything that you need to know. You can find, of course, on our website. A big thank you, of course, to my partner, Kim McAllister, and to all of you. Tomorrow, a big tease. We will be talking movies, which is something we used to do on the other station. Tim Sika is going to be on with us to talk a little bit of movies. Yeah, so Tim Sika exactly. So Tim Sika will join us.
Excited there.
Exactly, and so we'll talk movies. If there's some new releases, it is Halloween weekend. I'm still looking for Halloween costume wins and fails. You can email those to me. At the Nikki Medoro Show at gmail.com. And we'll talk again tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. You're proud, like a beautiful blossom. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.